Where we're going, we won't need eyes, because it's a podcast, it's an audio medium. It's Haunted Phosphorescence! Hello, everyone. This is Funky Spaceman Thoreau Smiley. Who's joining me this week?
I'm Josh Cece, and I'll see you at Horizon Event 2022.
I'm Brian Lesh, and everybody calls me Baby Bear for some reason.
I'm Jeremy Reed, and why do they always translate Latin?
I have been beyond the boundaries of our universe, of known scientific reality. I am Alaric Weber.
Tales to astonish.
Imagine, if you will.
And this is Armless Haunted Phosphorescence.
Oh, there you go.
I said harmless at the beginning too, didn't I?
But how spooky is it?
Yeah. It's spooky because it's Spooktober.
Now officially, yeah.
Yes, Spooktober. We're bringing you four scary movies during the haunted month of the Halloween month. This show is brought to you by our patrons. Patrons like executive producers Michael Beckwith and Atticus Burkett. You also can be a patron. Just go to patreon.com/harmlessentertainment. We got a bunch of bonus content there. We got Star Wars shows, music shows. We're every month we put up a movie from a different year, our monthly movie. We just did Josie and the Pussycats. This month we'll be having a spooky movie coming up there. That'll be probably by the next episode. We'll be able to tell you what that is. But this week on Haunted Phosphorescence, we are watching Event Horizon.
This morning, TDRS picked up an automated navigation beacon broadcasting at 2-minute intervals in Neptune orbit.
This is incredible. It's the Event Horizon. She's come back. Event Horizon is the culmination of a secret government project to create a spacecraft capable of faster-than-light flight. The ship doesn't really go faster than light. What it does is it creates a dimensional gateway that allows it to jump instantaneously from one point of the universe to another light years away.
Where's she been for the last 7 years, Doctor?
That's what we're here to find out. After 7 years in deep space.
There were 18 people on board this ship when it disappeared. I want them all accounted for.
Opening outer door.
It came back, abandoned.
Any crew? Negative. This place is a tomb.
But it didn't come back alone.
Ship has been beyond the boundaries of our universe. Who knows where it's been? And what it's brought back with it.
What is it? The ship is reacting to us, and the reactions are getting stronger.
What are you telling me? That this ship is alive?
I have such wonderful things to show you.
Oh my God! It knows my secrets. It knows my fears. Vacate, I want off this ship. I can't leave. She won't let you. God help us.
Event Horizon.
Is that the best trailer we've ever seen?
Right?
That might be the best trailer for a movie that I think we've seen.
That was a good trailer.
God, it makes me want to watch this movie again.
Yeah, no, that was a good one. It was released the 15th of August, 1997, has a running time of 96 minutes. It cost $60 million, and it made $42 million at the box office. It was a disappointment.
Too bad.
Sci-fi at this point in history, sci-fi struggled in the theater.
It did, but there was that big. There was a late '90s sci-fi push. Like there's a bunch of classics.
When did
from this era.
Starship?
When did Fifth Element come out?
Fifth
Stargate.
Element. Fifth Element was around there, 97 or 98. I can't remember which. Yeah,
But were those financial
Stargate was big.
like
96.
successes?
Fifth Element, I think was. I know I saw Fifth Element in the theater. I did not see this one in the theater. So I personally made Fifth Element.
Thus, Fifth Element was a success.
Your extensive data.
Yes. Fifth Element, Dark City, Event Horizon.
I'd never seen the trailer for this. I've seen this movie dozens
Ghosts
and
of
dozens
Mars.
of times.
Yeah.
I love this movie so much, but it reminds me of Prometheus, where the trailer is so good. I'm like, oh man, holy shit, this movie's bound to be incredible.
Yeah, very good trailer. Unfortunately, that did not translate into box office, and that means, guys, we're going to play the box office top 10 game.
Pew pew.
This is the game where I will describe the top 10 movies of the week of August 15th, 1997, and these fellas are going to try to guess what movie I'm describing. I will note that a movie opened this week that we previously covered. It is not in the top 10, though, so I'm going to spoil it. This opened the same week as Steel, the Shaquille O'Neal Superman movie.
Shaquille O'Neal Steel. And that'll always have
man.
place in my heart.
Yeah, that it was.
But I love Shaq. We've talked about it.
Yeah, oh God, yeah. No, it was not. It was not a good movie, but it was also a lot of fun.
You know what it was? It's like if your kids put on a play that they wrote, and it's terrible, but you love it.
It's like, aw, Shaq, look what you
Yeah.
did.
Oh, look
Aw.
at the time they took. Look how much fun he's having. You go ahead, Shaq.
Look, they don't call him the big Aristotle for nothing.
It's true.
The man's gifted. The man is gifted. Yeah, that's one of his old nicknames when he was rapping. The big Aristotle.
Oh, Shaq.
Damn, that's a cool name.
He had a rap song in Steel. So
Yeah.
It's an
Oh,
explainer,
yeah.
right?
yeah, Shaq's explainer song from Steel. It was great.
It doesn't explain the movie. It just explains why he's there.
Yeah, I mean, kind of. So anyways, we're going to jump into the box office top 10 here. The number 10 movie of the week of August 15th, 1997. After years of searching, a doctor finds conclusive proof of extraterrestrial intelligence.
Contact?
Contact!
That's
Yes.
another one for the list.
Yeah, that's a really good movie.
Oh, that's a really good movie, yeah.
Yeah. Yes, Contact at number 10 in its sixth week at the box office. That one was a hit. At number 9 this week, oh dear God, an unexpected player joins the school basketball team.
Airbud.
Airbud, yes.
That's what I saw in theaters this week.
There are 12 of those.
Yeah, there are.
12 of those movies.
Airbud goes to Congress.
And he goes to
Airbud becomes
Air
president.
buddies.
Air-
They go to space.
They go
There's
to
all kinds of them.
They go to space. Some of them, there's a superhero team of golden retrievers.
Yeah.
So they have yeah.
That dog is dead. You are watching a dead dog.
Look, I heard Vin Diesel's working on one. Too Bud, Too Furious.
Where the
about
dog drives
family.
a car, I guess. Yeah. But it's ultimately about.
Oh yeah,
Dog's in the sidecar, which is
it's about family.
hilarious.
He's like Shih Tzu Drift.
Just sliding a Shih Tzu across the linoleum floor. He spins out.
At number 8 this week at the box office. A young advertising executive's life becomes increasingly complicated when, in order to impress her boss, she pretends to be engaged to a man she just met.
To impress her boss.
Oh, rom-com.
Thank God I've never been in that situation.
Engaged to a stranger.
The tagline is, "She was prepared for anything until love stormed in."
He's like, I need you to stay late to finish that paperwork, and I need you to marry this guy.
Is this Sandra Bullock?
No.
Ally McBeal 3.
It's Jennifer Aniston from that period. There was a period in the late 90s when she was trying to be a rom-com star.
Looks like. Guess.
Okay, I'm just gonna tell you. No.
Getting married to.
It's called Picture Perfect. At number 7 this week.
Wait, did she need to be married to keep her job?
I guess.
To
we
impress
glaze
her
over?
boss.
Yeah.
Doesn't guarantee security. She just wants to impress him.
Yeah, it's.
We got to do
As
rom-coms
it
at
should
some
be.
point.
Hey,
What's that?
married to have a job as it should be, back when boys could be boys.
Yeah, that's right.
To impress him. She can still get laid off. Like, when you impress someone, how long does that last? A few minutes?
Like, you've made quite the impression on me.
Yeah, that was impressive.
Roll
now moving
credits.
on with my life.
If I made an impression on my boss. All right. At number 7 this week.
She's a janitor, too. It's not even a good job.
At number 7.
Oh,
Oh, I'm
she's
sure
a
she's like an
janitor.
editor or something. Some sort of like.
Oh, yeah. She's always carrying plans from
She's
one place
building
to another.
bridges. Yeah.
Yeah. She's an architect, editor, like, yeah.
Yep.
And she met the guy in Alaska or something.
At number 7 this week, 7 this week, a police officer joins a secret organization.
Gangs of LA.
No. This was
Upland.
This was a very big hit. It spawned 3 sequels. It's
Men in Black.
Yep. Men in Black. Yes. In its 8th week of release.
Okay, I take it back about science fiction movies. This is one of 3 thus far.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, and gosh, Event Horizon had to compete with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And at number 6,
Rough.
it also had to compete with a movie where an elite mercenary is killed, but comes back as a reluctant soldier.
Soldier?
No. This is another movie that we
Spawn.
have. Yep, Spawn. We did a podcast on it. Spawn.
Oh, man.
Yeah, Spawn at number 6. It's a busy week.
I don't have time to impress my boss. From the engagement.
I'm going to impress my boss by coming back from the dead. And fighting
wasn't it-
aliens.
Wasn't it Evil Jet Bartlett was the boss too?
Yeah.
And John Leguizamo was the violator.
Oh,
Is
yeah.
that clown was
Oh, yeah.
called.
Yeah.
That was just so hard to look at.
Yep.
That whole movie is hard to look at.
It is, but it made me uncomfortable.
Literally, because it's made up of 50% PS1 cutscenes.
Yeah, this video game graphics for sure.
At number 5 this week, a man raised in the jungle falls in love with a wealthy American heiress.
Tarzan?
Not Tarzan.
No. George of the Jungle.
George of the Jungle. Yep.
Brendan Fraser.
Classic.
Yep. Brendan Fraser. Yeah. That was a Disney. Yeah. Huh. Yep. Oh, there's an animatronic gorilla on that poster.
I think they used the ones from Congo.
Oh,
I think.
Oh.
Amy loved Pepsi.
At opening at number 4 this week, a rescue crew investigates a spaceship that disappeared into a black hole and is now returned with someone or something new on board to impress its boss.
Titanic.
Jurassic Park in space. Hell.
Impressive.
An American Tail.
Fievel goes to hell.
There are no cats in space.
Fievel versus Jason. Yeah.
So this opened at number 4.
It opened at number 4, yes.
Which is pretty good for a science fiction movie that is packed to the gills with fucking terrifying images of gore.
It is.
Do you have the drop off for this?
I can.
Because I have a feeling that word of mouth people were like, "Yo, don't go see that after eating food."
The following week, it dropped to number 7. It dropped 50% the following week.
Because the gore elements are. This is gorier than Alien by far.
Oh yeah, definitely. At number 3 this week, a grumpy old man tries to protect his family on an airplane.
Air Force One?
Yes.
Wow,
Get off
that's a
my
hard one to
plane.
compete with.
Yeah.
I love that movie still.
Oh yeah.
Classic.
Yeah. Grumpy at.
I love it. Yeah.
That's President Jack Ryan in my mind.
Mm.
So, just saying that out loud, even though it's not. Jack Ryan does become president.
That makes sense.
That's my president, Jack Ryan.
I mean,
Hey, season 5 of the Krasinski show. We'll get there.
President Krasinski, please.
oh God.
I'd watch it.
Air Force One was the first movie I feel like that was like Grumpy Ford, like after he was stopped being like leading
Fugitive.
man. Yeah. Oh, you're right. You're right.
Well, and
Fugitive.
Did Air Force One come out before 6 Days and 7 Nights? Because that's quintessential grumpy Harrison Ford.
I have no idea when 6 Days and 7 Nights came out. It was somewhere in the late 90s.
That weird Harrison Ford Anne Heche rom-com that I love so much.
Oh, poor Anne Heche.
I think that was after.
That's how I learned to do
I
the
think that had to be after.
Yeah.
the water drop sound.
Yeah, it must have
Yeah.
been because I think Air Force One was Harrison Ford's last like legitimate like leading man hit. Like I can't think of one after.
Well, Indiana Jones, but like,
Well, yeah. I mean,
Well, you know what's
But-
crazy is he's doing it again. He's still here, 85,000 years old, and he's
Houses
still
don't pay
playing
for
action
themselves.
heroes.
yeah.
Well, and
That's
The
true.
more-
Brought Han back.
the longer he plays each of these roles, Deckard and Han and Indy, the less he has to talk, the more he just goes. "Ugh."
Yeah, or memorize or
Yeah.
learn.
oh yeah.
Yep.
He just like looks out of character and just growls at them. And they're
He's like,
"Cool,
I'll
that's
play
it
Han
for the
Solo
day."
again.
I
Just
saw
give me a vest.
I saw
Well,
behind the scenes of Harrison Ford, and he's on Indy 5. He's doing very little on that movie because they were actually just people in Harrison Ford masks, like riding motorcycles and sitting in cars in the passenger seat that they're going to CGI the face on later.
Just ADR the entire movie.
He wouldn't even sit in the passenger
So-
seat of a car. They put
This is
double in.
this leads me to, and this is like a quick aside, but actors who've just stopped caring, will Harrison Ford go the way of Bruce Willis, where he's just like, pay me $150 million and you can have the rights to deep fake me in movies.
This is like
Nick Cage.
super current news. He decided that his Bruce Willis's people, his representation came out and said he didn't do that.
Yeah.
I don't know how
He
that grew
didn't?
legs so
Aw.
quickly.
I heard he recently revealed he has brain damage.
Yeah, he does.
Aphasia or something.
It's like
Yeah.
it's a form of
Really?
dementia. Yeah.
It's a form of dementia.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which is why he was doing all of those movies. Which is why he made 18 movies in the last year. He was trying to cash in before he couldn't make movies anymore.
You gotta respect that. Though.
Oh, man.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, it's like Gene Hackman. Gene Hackman did the same thing. Everyone was like, why are you making Welcome to Mooseport? And Gene Hackman was like, I can't remember it anymore, man.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And I wasn't on a hit sitcom, so
Yeah.
I need money now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Moonlighting's
I
not
was
getting
fucking
any.
Frasier.
yeah. Moonlighting
Residuals.
isn't streaming anywhere, so
Yep.
damn it.
I know, which is a bummer.
Yeah, that show was great.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2 this week. A taxi driver becomes a target after one of his crazy ideas turns out to be true.
Is this conspiracy theory with Mel Gibson?
Yep, Mel Gibson and Julia Roberts. Conspiracy.
This movie's crazy,
It is.
considering who he is.
I was going to say, once we learned about him, we're like,
It turns out his conspiracy theory was about the Jews. So
Yeah, conspiracy theory and
crazy.
what women want speak volumes about him and his like public persona. But
yeah, fucking.
I
And
love this movie as a kid because it's so frenetic and he's a crazy person.
it's like Enemy of the State. It was one of those like late '90s paranoid like action on the run from the government movies. And at number one, opening at number one this week. This movie opened at number one. That's crazy. The sheriff of a suburban New Jersey community populated by New York City police officers.
Copland. I said that earlier. Far out. I didn't know it was the.
Yeah, this was the.
Well, it had star powers like
Who was in
Stallone and De
this?
Niro.
Stallone was the star, but it also it had De Niro, Ray Liotta, and Harvey Keitel. It was like
And it's kind of a badass movie. Yeah, I like it.
it's I mean it's
I've never seen it.
who made this? It was
Yeah, it's a bunch of crooked cops who, of course, don't live in the city. They live in this town in New Jersey. Stallone's the sheriff there. He's like an easygoing guy, but of course, these cops think they're untouchable and try to run the town. So it's like him against a bunch of.
But they're on his territory. I could dig that. All right. I like a
I'd watch
bad
it.
cop movie.
Oh, that was a James Mangold
Look.
film.
Oh.
Really?
He takes no shit.
Written and directed, yeah. Wow.
Gotta get in on that one before The Rock remakes it.
Yeah, right.
Black Adam.
Kevin Hart is, I don't know, his
Please don't
Secretary?
even say that to me. Don't even say that to me because you know it'll happen. Kevin
yeah.
Hart will be in that movie for some reason.
and it'll make a
Jack
ton of
Black
money.
will be a crooked cop.
They make it as a comedy.
Wild man beard.
I'd watch
he's
it.
playing the Harvey Keitel character.
Yeah. The more I say, the more I'd watch that because it sounds kind of like Tropic Thunder.
Yeah.
Ben Stiller to direct.
It's like to see the Rock remake of Goodfellas.
Oh my god.
Kevin Hart playing the Joe Pesci role.
Joe Pesci. Yeah, Tommy.
Or no. Reverse
Ever
those
since
roles. Have Kevin Hart play Leota and The Rock play Pesci. And it just starts off Kevin Hart just like, hey, look, man. All my life I wanted to be a gangster man.
No. It's like, am I a clown to you with this giant beaming smile? Like, kinda.
That's our box office top 10. That brings us to the production of the film. So Event Horizon was written by Philip Eisner. He's known mostly for writing Event Horizon. So
was it a book? Or no.
No.
I don't think so.
It felt like a Crichton type vibe.
Yeah, I can see that.
It does.
But
They
anyway.
were just capitalizing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
They borrow from a lot of things. It doesn't ruin anything, but that ragtag crew, that's alien for the first, few minutes.
Yeah.
But anyways, proceed.
He also he wrote something called The Mutant Chronicles, which starred Thomas Jane and John Malkovich. Yeah, it was based on a role play, an RPG. Huh. And then he did write. He's a staff writer for the book Bad Guys, the comic book. So he's not especially prolific. This is definitely his most well-known property. This was directed by Paul W.S. Anderson. No, this was not made in the same year by the same director of Boogie Nights. Paul W.S. Anderson is probably best known as the Resident Evil dude. He made all the Resident Evil movies.
And probably because he made
bless his heart.
this.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you say bless his heart?
Yeah.
Yeah, bless his heart.
I mean,
Yeah.
he's married to Mia
Somebody had to.
He's married to Mia Jovovich?
That's why she's in all those movies, because she's his wife.
That's why her character in the games is like pretty much non-existent. Like she's kind of there. That's why her character is the main character in the movies, and none of the main characters from the games
Yeah.
are the main characters in the movies.
He's
I love
Sherry
watching
Moon
her,
zombieing her.
Yeah. Yeah. Additionally,
And this was right after Mortal Kombat, right?
yes. Yes, he
That's
made this
right.
right after Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat was his first big production. His first movie is called Shopping, which is a little indie film. It was kind of his start. After this, he made Soldier, the Kurt Russell movie.
So I watched an interview with him about this, and he said, he was like, I was scheduled to make Soldier, and then Kurt Russell said, I want to get super jacked, give me a year. They stopped
Year.
Soldier for a year so Kurt Russell could get really jacked.
I think we forget how big of a star Kurt Russell was in the late 80s through the 90s.
Exactly. Just the power to be like,
Kurt-
no, I'm going to stop this movie because I want to look good.
Yeah.
And Kurt Russell deserves every accolade he gets.
Absolutely.
I watched
Absolutely.
Big Trouble in Little China again this past week.
Overboard.
and
He
Kurt
didn't make a
Russell
bad movie.
is-
Yeah. Soldier's
No.
fantastic. I
He's-
fucking love that movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And now he's that later day where he's, he gets to pick and choose. Like, I love how much he went into the Tarantino universe.
He is the only Kurt
Oh,
Russell
yeah.
is the only reason that Escape from LA exists, because at that point John Carpenter was not getting calls, but Kurt Russell was like, "No, I want to play Snake again. Let's make this."
Yep, Snake
Yeah.
Plissken.
He chases roles for fun,
Mm-hmm.
it seems,
Yeah.
and that's why he's so successful at this point.
Right. The Guardians of the
Ego
Galaxy.
in the Marvel movies. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
He seemed to be
He's-
having
he's a-
fun.
Yeah.
He got
The
it.
dude played Santa Claus. He decided
God.
to play Grumpy
Yes.
Santa Claus for Netflix. Like, this dude is living his best life right now.
Yeah. What? He's married to Goldie Hawn.
Roasted.
Yeah.
Well, they never got married,
Oh, that's right.
which I think is, again, a testament to, seems like
Yeah.
the couples that stay together the longest don't go through the legal contract.
Yeah.
They see how unnecessary.
He also made Alien versus Predator.
Oh, yeah.
Take of that what you will. The 2014 Pompeii movie.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That was the one that was supposed to throw Kit Harington into huge movie stardom.
Yes.
I don't even remember.
Oh, wow. Jon Snow in a volcano.
Yeah.
Ugh.
It's
Oh
bad.
my God. He made the 2011 Three Musketeers. Have you guys seen that? It is
Bonkers movie.
exactly. Yes. It is.
Dumas
insane.
is rolling over in his grave.
It's like the Matrix Three Musketeers or something. There's like
The slow motion dodging.
it's like steampunk Three Musketeers. It's insane.
Too bad the 80s one was good.
Insanely bad?
Insanely bad, yes. Terrible. It's a terrible movie.
Oh yeah. You mean the one with Kiefer Sutherland?
Is that the one I'm thinking of?
Yeah.
And
Oliver Platt.
it had
was in it, is that
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that's the
Tim
one.
Curry.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was
yeah.
a good one.
That one was
I
pretty
liked
good.
that.
Yeah. So yeah, Paul W.S. Anderson makes a certain kind of I don't want to say schlocky sci-fi, but a certain kind of sci-fi that isn't always
Sci-fi
of
horror.
the highest quality. Yeah.
He seems
Oh,
like an
right.
affordable summer blockbuster director.
Yeah.
Like, we've got a small budget. Let's have this guy make a movie.
We've got $40 million. Make something.
Right. You don't need an auteur in that situation.
Mhm.
You need a workhorse. Punch in.
On
get it
time and under budget.
done. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like, this is a moneymaker. Your visions can stay somewhere else. Just make this.
yeah,
You're
the fact
not
that,
Denny. You're not Denny. Just
Right.
give us something that'll make some money.
well, and he hopped on this movie to make it in the year that Kurt Russell was getting jacked.
Yeah.
Once I saw that, I was like, oh, watching this movie, it makes so much more sense understanding that.
He took off a Russell Jack year.
He's waiting for Kurt Russell to do push-ups.
Yeah, it's like, Kurt, why don't you stay Jack so you're GTG?
So, okay. So when he first got this script. By all accounts, Event Horizon was a space cruise ship that accidentally
Avenue 5.
Yeah, that accidentally crossed some sort of threshold of a planet, and it was being haunted by interdimensional tentacle beings.
I'd still watch that.
Yeah,
Cthulhu's.
yeah.
I mean, I'd watch it, but like, oof, I'm glad changes got made.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and also considering maybe it would have been different, but there's so many anachronistic things in this. We're going to talk about the technologies that advanced and those that just did not.
That was the first thing Jude mentioned. He was like,
One time I was watching Star Trek: The Next Generation, and the away team was sneaking into this like fortress or whatever. And they bend down to talk, and there's just a regular old spigot, like for a hose, for watering. And I'm just like, all right, well that technology stayed the same.
Hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
but yeah. All right. Yeah, we'll get to it. We'll wait for that. But so, all right. So he wanted to make this The Shining in space, is what he said. It kind of is.
It is.
All right, yeah, visions, yeah.
And there's a fair amount of Kubrickian imagery that he's homaging in this.
This
Yeah,
is
that tunnel that spins.
This is a love letter to horror movies, though, because it's more than just The Shining. I mean, there's stuff from Hellraiser and
it's a love letter to H.P. Lovecraft as well. There's so much about this movie that is really hokey and awful, but there are things that just make me love it. Anyway.
But like you said, Jay, but on time and under budget. Like,
on time and under budget is the code word.
Yeah. So Philip Eisner, the writer, has said that the story was influenced by Warhammer 40K.
I knew it. What did I say, Brian? What did I say? We were literally sitting there in your living room watching this, and I said, somebody liked Warhammer 40K.
Mm-hmm.
Who wrote this?
Yep. Yeah, he
I said the same thing, and I had no idea what I was talking about. I still do.
Yeah, so
Warhammer's a tabletop game, right?
I have heard of it. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. It's a tabletop game. Henry was a huge fan of it, apparently.
Yeah. So
Nice.
the original cut of this movie was 30 to 40 minutes longer than the theatrical version, and that's the version we saw, the theatrical. That's the only version streaming. So it was much, much gorier. Apparently, so the blood orgy. See,
they called it that.
They called it the blood orgy. Yes,
like the one in Blade and so many other movies. It's like vampire raves.
No, this is the after party for the blood rave, the blood orgy.
Right. So that was filmed by a second unit director who apparently went way beyond what he was told to do.
A little extra.
He hired real life amputees, and actual porn actors to have real sex. and for the whole blood orgy scene.
So this man thought he was directing Caligula.
Yeah.
Did where you're getting your info? Did they go into any detail as to how it was edited? Because I have a feeling that it was edited the way that it is because that imagery was so terrifying and gory.
Yeah.
Like I remember not being able to pause this movie when I first saw it. I remember watching it on TV and being like, what just happened? And then somebody had it on VHS and then we paused it, and you couldn't pause things very well on VHS. But now I have seen all of the single images of all this gore.
Mm-hmm.
Were those sequences, do you think? Of Sam Neill walking through them?
I don't think Sam Neill was ever involved. I think they showed longer pieces of it. So some of the deleted scenes, there was there was a number of deleted scenes that they cut out because the original cut was not was not greeted well. People said it was too disturbing and too long. So they cut out a scene where Dr. Ware meets the people in charge of the mission, and they talk about the event horizon. That's just kind of a boring setting up the story one at the beginning. There was more of a backstory for Cooper and Justin, including...
They told us why they called him Baby Bear?
I think so, yeah.
Stealing picnic baskets or something?
Yeah.
The Ranger's not going to like that.
There was a backstory but for the relationship between Stark and Captain Miller. More scenes explaining what the gateway is. And then there was some of the gorier scenes. Miller finding a tooth floating around. A longer version of the scene where Peters hallucinates that her son's mangled legs are covered in maggots. A scene where Ware hallucinates that Justin turns into his wife, his dead wife. A bloodier version of the suicides of the wife. A longer version of the scene where he finds the body that's hanging up. Like
That's the doctor, right?
Yeah.
I feel like the suicide was pretty graphic.
Yeah, but it was worse in the original.
Yeah. Wow.
A longer version of the Visions from Hell scene during the final fight. More shots of torture. And they shot 2 alternate endings. And the final ending we got was a cut that used parts of both. One didn't have the jump scare at the end. And then let's see. There was
So it had a mist style ending.
Yeah.
And then this ending, which is like Inception, like, ooh, maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's a studio note. It's a studio note ending. They were like, yo, you pissed us off with the gore. You almost got an NC-17 rating, and then you gave us a depressing ending on top of it.
Yeah. Fuck you.
And then originally, the captain, the burning dude, did not turn back into Sam Neill. He was just the burning guy.
He was Burning Man.
Yeah.
That probably had to happen because of edits.
Yeah.
Because the ending is weirdly rushed.
It really is.
Which works, but God. But is that lost footage, or is that something that we can find?
So apparently it's only been released as a lot of the gore stuff has never been released, and a lot of the deleted scenes only existed on a DVD set. Someone's kind of cut stuff back together as like a thing that goes on the internet, but it's not a real release.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't want to see the gore, but I'm curious about the world building aspects. The gore was more than enough for me. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Apparently it was far, far gorier originally. And that was one of the main things that audiences reacted to in test screenings.
Yeah. This is one of the most shocking, still to this day, one of the most shocking visually movies, like the horror movies I've ever seen. It still gets me.
I know I was talking about it before we were on, but the first time I ever saw this movie, I was 7 years old. And I had stayed up later than my parents, and I just watched this on HBO. Because it was like one of those rare times when HBO was doing a free trial. My parents were asleep. I was like, I'm going to watch a scary movie. And I got more than I bargained for, and I could never see Sam Neill the same after when we're going, you won't need eyes to see. So this movie, I can only imagine how traumatized I was at 7 seeing this out of it, how much worse it would have been.
It could have been.
If they'd have made the movie that the second unit director was shooting for.
Yeah.
I think TBS or USA, one of those channels, used to air it without all the gore. So seeing it on tape was just so much more shocking than this movie already was. Because like a guy on fire is scary, and like cuts are scary.
Oh yeah.
But all that other
people
shit,
inside out,
is something else.
Yeah.
It sounds similar to when I first saw The Thing, as a kid, and I really wasn't supposed to.
Ooh.
Yeah.
John Carpenter's The Thing with
Yeah.
Kurt Russell, as you were talking.
Oh.
When that fucking dog turns inside out and shit. I was just like,
Mm.
that stuck with me.
It for me was that climbing out of the shower drain.
Yeah.
That was one of the
Oh.
earliest.
That was
scary
creepy with the
sequences.
fingers.
Yeah. Ugh.
Yeah.
This movie stars Lawrence Fishburne. We've talked about him before. Every time.
Did it?
Every time.
I asked Al off the main thread, like, do we want to make a bet when he's going to say it? It was the
Fishburne.
first time.
Yeah.
I would not take that bet.
No.
I just
Sucker
lost 3
bet, as you
Spider-Mans.
Lawrence Fishburne. We've talked about him a few times, of course.
It's okay. You can call him Fishborn.
He is born of the fish.
He is. Protector of the seas.
Sam Neill as Dr. Ware. Have we done a movie with Sam Neill before in this show? I don't think so.
Thor.
Oh, Thor. That's
we
right.
briefly talked about him in Ragnarok.
Yep.
That's right.
Oh, right. That's right.
Okay.
He plays Odin,
Yeah.
kind of. He
You know
plays
what's a-
Odin. He plays a guy playing Odin.
You'd put, yeah.
A great movie he's in that's a really underrated horror movie is In the Mouth of Madness.
Oh, that is
Everybody
so
seen
good.
that?
Yes.
I still haven't
Thank
seen it.
you.
Jay and I were
Someone else
talking
has seen
about
that
it.
movie.
Oh, yeah.
Someone
It's
else
great.
has seen that movie. Thank you.
Is that a Carpenter?
That is a Carpenter. Absolutely.
It
It is a Carpenter movie.
Okay, yeah.
That
yeah.
movie is
That's why I
that
love
is
it.
one of Carpenter's most underrated movies.
Agreed.
It's so good.
Yeah. Yeah, great movie. Yeah, absolutely. We've also got Kathleen Quinlan as Peters. Let's see. She's one of those ones who was around a lot in the 80s and 90s, I feel like. She was in I Never Promised You a Rose Garden. American Graffiti. We talked about her in our monthly movie of American Graffiti. She played
Who was
Peg.
she in that?
Peg.
Huh.
She was also in Airport 77, Independence Day in 1983, not the 90s movie. She was in The Doors. She played Patricia Keneally, not Patricia Kennedy. She was in Apollo 13. She's one of those that's been. She's in a ton of movies, but she was never like.
I think
an
she started
A-lister.
on TV, or no?
Yes.
I feel like she was in a 30-something type show.
Let's see. She was in The Waltons.
She wasn't
well,
in
that's-
She wasn't in a starring role, but she was in The Lifeguard with Sam Elliott.
Oh my God. That's Sam Elliott's. The pictures of Sam Elliott from The Lifeguard are like, well, who is this heartthrob?
Almost as sexy as his Roadhouse character.
Almost. Yeah, I'm looking at TV. I don't see any sort of like major roles in anything other than The Waltons.
Yeah, the Waltons. That's probably what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
That was a big enough show.
Yeah, absolutely. Jolie Richardson plays Lieutenant Stark, the blonde lady.
Discount Laura Dern.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Jolie what?
Jolie Richardson. I kept looking at her and
let's see.
thinking, like, am I supposed to know who she is? Because she feels like she looks like someone who I should recognize, but I don't quite.
She was grown in a lab using some of Laura Dern and Jodie Foster's hair.
With a little Anne Heche.
Yeah, just a touch. Yeah, she was. Yeah, she got. She was in a bunch of British stuff. Her first big. The first movie that I recognized the name of was King Ralph, the 1991 John Goodman movie, where he becomes King of England.
Yeah, again, underrated.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. She was in Shining Through, the live action 101 Dalmatians in 1996 with Glenn Close.
Oh, yeah. I bet she was probably, what's her name?
She's
Whatever the wife
mom?
and husband.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, she was the mom. Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
Oh, she was in The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. Huh.
I preferred the
Daniel
girl with the
Craig
dolphin.
one or the later one.
The Fincher one. Was that Fincher? I thought it was Fincher.
Okay.
Yeah, she's not
I think it's Fincher,
Swedish
Yeah, it
or
was
whatever.
Fincher.
I I prefer the woman with the dolphin tattoo. She's
the,
the party girl.
the girl with the dolphin tramp stamp.
Yes.
Tiffany, right?
Yes,
Yeah, her name is
absolutely.
Tiffany.
It's Tiffany.
Or Brianna.
Yeah.
This actress was recently in 3 episodes of The Sandman.
Oh, she played Ethel Cripps.
Who did she play in?
Ethel Cripps.
She did.
Wow. Okay. All right.
Didn't even recognize her.
Wow. Okay. Let's see. Richard T. Jones as Cooper.
Is that Alfred Pennyworth? Which one?
No, that's Cooper.
He's the one who plays angry black husbands in Tyler Perry movies, right?
Yes. He's in a number of Tyler Perry movies.
He's good in this.
Yeah. Why did I get married? Why did I get married to? Let's see. He was also
And then why did I get married to Linda?
He was also he does a lot of like fourth build stuff. He was in Kiss the Girls, Hollywood Confidential, Phone Booth, Soul Plane, Collateral.
Hey.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
But yeah, he's a supporting actor. He's kind of just
he did a lot of supporting in this. He was a good character.
Absolutely. He was also in the main cast of Terminator Sarah Connor Chronicles, which was a pretty good show.
Yes, he was.
I'll be a hip single mother like Erin Brockovich or Sarah Connor.
Jack Noseworthy played Ensign Justin.
Does that mean he smells good? Is that like his familial?
Noseworthy.
He is noseworthy. Can't pick up the hammer, but he can pick up the, I don't know, side cam.
His first film role was Encino Man. He played Taylor. Okay.
Somebody had to.
Yeah. He was in the Brady Bunch movie. He played Eric Dittmeyer. He was in a movie we will cover at some point, Barbed Wire. He was in Idle Hands. He played Randy. Oh, that guy.
Yeah, I mean, he was totally familiar to me.
Okay. No, okay. I know this dude now. Okay,
This is the guy who played the pilot, right?
No, that's
Sean Pertwee.
Yeah, this is
who is Alfred?
This is the dude that like tried to go out the airlock. Justin.
Oh,
Baby Bear.
Baby Bear.
I only know him by his given name, Baby Bear.
Yes.
By his badass street name, Justin.
He hasn't been. Yeah.
That's Mr. Justin.
Yeah.
Mr. Justin to you. Mr. Baby Bear.
Jason Isaacs played DJ, the doctor. His Lucius Malfoy.
Right.
In Potter.
The captain from Discovery too.
Jason Isaacs is a killer in the character acting world.
Yeah. He's
dude.
been in a gazillion things. Black Hawk Down. Fury.
He was the villain in The Patriot.
That's right. Yeah. He
was. Yeah.
He did the voice of Admiral Zhao in Avatar: The Last Airbender. He was the Grand Inquisitor in Star Wars Rebels.
I was going to say he was in Star Wars somewhere.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. He's character actor extraordinaire. British dude. That's like in everything. And
he speaks Latin in this movie again.
He does.
Just to point that out.
I would also like to point out that the entire we'll save it. We'll wait till we get to the movie. All right, so Sean Pertwee as Smitty Smith. W.F. Smitty Smith. He gets a nickname. Let's see. He's Equilibrium is probably what I know him most from. He was also in Soldier.
I know him from Gotham. He plays Alfred, and I think he crushes it. That show's underrated.
he plays like the most gangster version of Alfred ever.
Right.
Like, Bruce comes home and he's like, I've been bullied at school. And Alfred's like, well, how about we go to their house and you just rough him up a bit?
You believe that dude was special forces in the British Army.
Oh,
like
yeah.
you believe he was.
He also
Michael Caine, it's like maybe he was.
The son of I buy Michael Caine. Like he used to work for the circus back in the day and everything.
Yeah, I imagine him swimming to the
Sean
Falklands.
Pertwee is also like one of the sons of like English royalty, a Doctor Who actor. His father was one of the doctors back in the day.
Oh, okay. Okay.
For a second, I thought we were talking about Alfred. But I was like, wow. his dad was on Doctor. That's some strange medicine.
Yeah. So, then that's our main class or main cast. That's
it.
Yeah, there's no one else really worth mentioning. This movie has 31% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Hell
And
exactly.
It was reviewed by Siskel and Ebert.
So, okay, the ship tore through the fabric of the universe and came back, and maybe there is something on board. But what? I'm afraid it's whatever satisfies the requirements of the plot at any given moment. In a movie like this, you want at least a few rules so you know in a rough way what they're up against, what can happen, what can't happen. But Event Horizon is all over the map, and I was completely unsatisfied by the behavior of the villain who knows things he couldn't know and seems to be playing both sides of the game at the same time. I did like the production design. It's a great looking picture. And I thought the actors did what they could, but the dialogue is very thin.
Well, I'm in a complete agreement with you. Again, this is the classic American movie, or the bad American movie that we're getting made. Action, production design, better than the screenplay. There is basically no screenplay here other than a scientific explanation of the premise.
Yeah, which is really...
There are no characters at all.
I was reminded...
You could have the actor... I was thinking this during the picture. I had a lot of time to think about things other than the story, because there wasn't any. That the characters could have traded places. They were so written, so the actors could have...
Well, to give you an example of how thin this movie is, it's obviously inspired by Solaris, which is a great Russian film by Andrei Tarkovsky about a space station around a planet that allows them to imagine that they are seeing things that they feel guilty about or sentimental about from their own past lives. So that's the whole gimmick. And then you just fertilize it with something that attacks them or doesn't attack them. And what you do is you take a great idea, as in Solaris, and you cheapen it down, you dumb it down, and then you wind up with something like Event Horizon.
The whole rhythm is everyone is going to have a panic attack at some point on the...
Right.
And so you just count the characters down because then you know the movie's going to be over.
Okay, so they didn't like it.
Some of their criticisms are pretty sound, though. Yeah,
valid.
Yeah,
they are.
But like then Roger describes what he doesn't like about the villain, and he's describing a villain.
Yeah,
like that's what they are.
Well, this is the thing: is I would love to like write an article about the lack of media literacy that Siskel and Ebert have.
Yeah,
like it's just one giant cognitive dissonance every time they do a movie. It's like, well, if you understand film and you understand the novels and stories that make film, this is the equivalent of a schlocky dime store H.P. Lovecraft cosmic horror novel. That is what this film is a distillation of.
Yeah.
Well, and Gene Siskel, in print before the show, he got a reputation for disliking everything. Gene Siskel is the hardest man to please, and I think he was popular in what is he, the Tribune or Sun-Times? But he was popular for that. We used to have a critic here in Tucson, James DiGiovanni.
Yeah, I remember that guy.
You could tell he just wrote for the puns that he had thought in his mind. Yeah, metaphor.
On Letterboxd, I got a couple reviews. I cannot emphasize how much I hate this movie. It is overly disturbing. I saw it for the first time when I was pregnant, and I thought that I disliked it because I was young and the hormones, so I watched it again. It was at least as bad as I remembered. I will never watch this movie again, and if anyone asks my opinion of it, I will tell them that if they want to have nightmares for a week, go ahead and watch it. It's a horror movie.
That's a thing. Fucking being pregnant.
Hey, at least she gave it a second chance. She had an open mind. She was like, you know, I'll watch it again. Was I tripping?
But also,
are pregnant women, are they more susceptible to terrible movies?
Like, but also, like, I watched a horror movie and it was scary. I hate that.
All right, what's the next review? And I hope
unfortunately, I could not find one about it being gay.
Gay, 5 stars.
Well, I give it 5 stars. Gay, for sure.
I've had like 3 of those. It's always 5 stars.
Look, all I'm saying is the chemistry between Lawrence Fishburne and Sam Neill.
Except when he's one of the most versatile actors that we know, but sometimes he's just Ike Turner. Sometimes he's just like, yeah, defy me, I dare you.
So, all right. This film has everything I want: body horror, cosmic horror, brutality, terror, and Sam Neill.
Brutality.
5 stars.
Pre-4chan.
I just love the brutality, terror, and Sam Neill.
I bet you this guy has only God Forgives in his top 10.
Oh, absolutely.
And Sam Neill. As brutality.
That's about it for the background, guys. Are you ready to get into the movie itself?
I am cocked and locked and ready to rock.
Everything's green on my screen, Skipper.
Someone drops the ball, we get the call.
Time to play Spam in the Can.
All right, here we go. This is Event Horizon. We open in space. You know, the place where no one can hear you scream. We get a credit sequence. Then we get some cards explaining that in 2015 we established a moon base. You remember when Obama did that, guys?
2015.
They do one of the coolest things I've ever seen somebody do at this time point, like with the Paramount Mountain, and they go past it into the stars.
Yeah,
was just like a cool, subtle, kind of Kubrickian thing.
Yeah,
I did appreciate the 90s screensaver sort of animation in the beginning with all of these little almost antique devices.
The Omega
around.
Watch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There were other things. I'm sure. I think there was a roll of tape. There was something.
Yeah. Jude was definitely laughing at the CGI. I was like, come on, it wasn't bad for 97. So yeah, 2015, we established a moon base. 2032, we launched a mining operation on Mars. In 2040, we launched a deep space vessel called the Event Horizon, which disappeared around Neptune. Neptune's a bad neighborhood. A lot of stuff goes missing around Neptune.
It's not gentrified yet. No. Watch your back.
They were told to stop.
Oh, is that you broke up, Jeremy?
I'm cocked and locked and ready.
Oh, yeah. It's I think your connection's a little rough. I think there was a big delay and then you broke up.
Uh-oh.
Do we want to
hang on?
All right.
And it was locked and cocked.
Better now?
What did I say?
I can
cocked and locked.
We could definitely hear you. I'm not sure what kind of delay. I'm not sure what kind of delay there is.
Some semantical shit.
I don't think there's a huge delay. I'm kind of hearing you guys as you're going.
Okay. I think we're good. I think just for a second there. So, but yeah, you broke up on whatever you were saying before I told you were breaking up.
It was something stupid. We'll just move on.
Okay.
I don't even remember.
All right. Yeah. So the current year is 2047. We see Neptune. There's some nightmare imagery. Then we meet Dr. Ware. He wakes up. He's missing his wife, Claire. He has pictures, which apparently he got printed out at Walgreens all over his spaceship walls.
No, the digital camera doesn't exist at this point in history.
No.
Paper pictures. Yeah.
Paper pictures. So many paper pictures. It's like a teenage girl's wall of Backstreet Boys level of pictures.
Totally.
of his wife who committed suicide.
Yes, exactly. Then he boards a rescue vessel. It's called the Lewis and Clark. They're in Earth orbit. We meet the crew. They've been suddenly called up to go to Neptune. They don't know why they're going to Neptune.
Do we know what kind of vessel this is? Like, is it an exploratory vessel? It has missiles.
They say it's search and rescue.
Yeah.
I mean, missiles can serve multiple purposes in space, I guess. But I was like,
I mean,
it's
the
not missiles, it's
Enterprise
like
had weapons.
Yeah,
they
it's like
claimed
it's a
their mission
gunship,
was
but it's a
skill.
science vessel. This
Yeah.
is search and rescue. That makes sense. Even though
One
there's
of them
only
looks
one.
just like
Better
a-
to have it than
not.
True.
Yeah, one of the ships looked like a Klingon bird of prey.
The Lewis and
The
Clark.
long.
The Event Horizon itself did. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's see. They all ready themselves to go into stasis in some liquid tanks. 56 days doesn't seem like really long enough to go into hypersleep.
Yeah.
It's because the gravitational effects on their bodies. He says that like your brain will get crushed. And
They said you'd liquefy.
Yeah, he's like, oh, I've seen it happen to rats.
They were accelerating at 30 Gs.
Okay,
Yeah.
Makes sense then.
Oh yeah.
That's the only way you could get that far that fast. So it makes sense.
All right, the science checks out this time.
They did
Finally.
some scientific thought writing themselves into these positions.
If anyone that saw Love and Thunder, Jane Foster uses this as an example to explain the Einstein Rosenberg.
Right. Like, so the whole folding a piece of paper and sticking a pen or pencil through it has been done so many times to explain.
But I think this is the first time we see it in a movie, at least that I'm aware of.
This is the earliest example I can think of, but
Yeah.
it's been done. It's at this point it has a TV tropes page.
Yeah, it's a well, and like Ebert and what's his face, not Roper,
Siskel.
That's what the whole movie's built around. That's the thing,
Mm-hmm.
which is really kind of interesting that this whole movie hangs itself on the paper with the pencil through it. That's the movie.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah. Well, and what's in between the two pieces of paper.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what's, yeah. You're not just jumping to another spot.
You're going through that space in between, and what's in that space? What's the space between?
This should have had a Dave Matthews explainer song.
That's the whole thing they steal from. That's the whole thing they steal from 40K. Is that in 40K, whatever dimension you travel through at hyperspeed or faster than light travel is essentially like awful eldritch beings that will destroy everything if let out. That was like the thing they ripped directly.
Yeah, the Lovecraftian.
Or they can kind of grab onto you as you pass.
Yeah, the Lovecraftian creatures that exist in the space you go through. Yeah.
And we're not talking about Interstellar, but when they are traveling through the wormhole in Interstellar, the hand of Matthew McConaughey reaches through space-time.
Yes.
And I remember thinking, like, God, are they doing the like eldritch horror thing in this Interstellar movie? But yeah. Anyways.
Well, in Interstellar, the creatures that live in between is love.
Well, it's us somehow.
It's us with love.
Yeah.
And love
gravity.
is the fifth dimension.
Yeah, that should have been Interstellar Love and Gravity.
When the moon is in the seventh heaven. It was around this time where I think one of the women or the woman had a flashback to her kid in a chair. The wheelchair is already an antique in the 90s. Like, it's not motorized. It's an old school hospital wheelchair.
Was she watching tapes?
She was
watching tapes.
She was watching
of
video
of like a thing that had happened while they were traveling.
Sure.
Yeah.
It was another example of, I guess they stopped improving
which
the
is what is
wheelchair.
interesting, because she basically has like an iPad, like, but then they still print out stuff.
Yeah.
So all right. So yeah, they are in stasis. Dr. Ware wakes up early, gets out of his tank, sees his dead wife, then wakes up for real. It was just a nightmare.
So what's happening in this place? Is the gate already opened? Is hell already there?
I mean, it's
On
in the
their ship?
The ship is because they do.
Because they're not attached to the event horizon yet.
No, they're not. But I think it's reaching that.
Are these just their anxieties arising naturally?
I think because we only see Dr. Ware's nightmares, and both times he then wakes up. So I think these two are just legitimately him having nightmares, and then everything after they attach to the ship is them bringing those nightmares to life.
The way you keep saying Dr. Ware makes me want to meet Dr. Y and Dr. Wen.
And
why wasn't Dr.
or
Who
Dr.
named
Wolf?
Dr. Wen?
Yeah. Dr. Wolf, yeah. Dr. Ware and Dr. Wolf.
Yeah, I don't know. It would be shocking, right? You do spend 56 days in REM sleep, then you wake up
Yeah.
to reality. Yeah. Your dreams would linger, I bet.
Yeah.
I wish it was more clear that it was like a nightmare sequence, because it makes the structure of the movie kind of confusing. Like they can't escape it no matter
I
what.
didn't think it was a nightmare.
Yeah.
I mean,
first.
I can't say that definitively, but
Because he dreams himself in the future as he is at the end of the movie.
Yes, he does.
Which is weird.
So that's one of my unanswered questions about this, but we can get to that.
Okay. All right. So the crew are all getting ready. They're waking up from stasis. They're at Neptune.
Stasis.
Stasis.
That's what they say.
they say stasis. I didn't catch
Over and
that.
over.
Oh God.
Oh yeah. I thought it was one character, and then the blonde repeated it.
So somebody
I
on
guess
set was like,
homeostasis.
someone on set was like, we're going to pronounce this stasis, guys, just so you know.
I'll bet it's a British fucking thing.
Oh yeah, that's British as fuck.
Guarantee it.
Aluminium.
Mm-hmm.
So they're at Neptune. Dr. Ware meets the crew. We got Captain Miller, Lieutenant Stark, Mr. Justin, Mr. Cooper, DJ, and Mr. Smith. All the boys. And the whole group's here.
Yeah, it's a real good group.
And they checked all the boxes. There are some moments in this that make
There's
me
one
laugh.
of everyone.
Classic sci-fi things where you see the character smoking a cigarette too.
Oh,
The pilot.
Yeah,
He's
I love that.
pulling a cigarette out. It's like, because you got to be able to smoke in space, baby.
Right. There aren't a bunch of flammable gases involved.
Yeah. Well, and you don't have a limited oxygen supply either.
Yeah. It's taking oxygen to burn that cigarette.
But also, yeah, so this has got the
Except you do have a limited oxygen supply.
Well, yeah.
we find out
Because
later.
that comes up later.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a plot
I
point.
wish I hadn't smoked so much inside.
But yeah, it seems to be like most future sci-fi things. The atmosphere is like nitrogen heavy, so you can smoke in it. They don't explain it in this movie like they usually do.
So this has the classic alien design production design where everything, all the floors are grates, everything's kind of wet and steamy.
Yeah. Science is a boiler room.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so Dr. Ware tells them about the Event Horizon's experimental gravity drive, explaining it folds space and time. He pokes the pen through the paper. It's sending off a distress signal, which seems to consist of a series of screams and howls. And apparently, nobody on Earth knows Latin. Only DJ knows Latin.
Or the sound of humans screaming.
Yeah.
So I assumed that somebody on Earth had heard this and was aware, like Alien, the corporation is like, we have to send somebody. I don't care if the devil himself is on the ship. It's a ship. It's expensive.
Yeah, it's just funny that no one told Dr. Ware, like, that's Latin. It's not the most unknown thing on Earth.
I wish that they had
Screams in Latin.
explained how he had been sent a little bit better, because it would have been cool to have there be a little more nefarious intent behind his character instead of just like
Okay, and
naive
this is-
pro-science guy.
This is the perfect time for my unanswered question about this movie. Is
Bring it.
This is one of the inconsistencies with the screenplay. Is it seems like Dr. Ware knew what was going to happen the whole time.
It kind
It
of
did seem that way.
Yeah,
He seems like Ash.
Like
there was
like it seems like whatever is going on, he's keyed in. He's like, oh well, I'm going to take my ship back to the hell dimension where I am a demon lord or whatever. Like,
I
Or he
can
can get
remember
his-
things from my past. and
Yeah,
live
he
in
can
my
get his
past,
ex-wife back.
like the Nexus kind of thing.
Yeah, he definitely had some Paul Reiser and Aliens vibe going on for sure.
That's a hard vibe to get.
But yeah, and yeah, actually, now that you mentioned it, I think they could have driven home a little more like, oh, this is my way to be with my wife again, instead of it just seeming like,
Yeah, kind of a Inferno kind of thing.
yeah, because I think they
Yeah.
were going for that, but they didn't press the point especially well.
Yeah, this movie could have used 7 more minutes of story explaining for things like that.
Yeah, instead of 7 more minutes of the blood orgy.
Hey, you know
That's
what?
the Horizon event.
What we got, I will not say that it's too much. I will say that it is. I'm so glad there's not more of it.
Yeah. So they arrive, they dock with the event horizon, which according to their readings is empty, but it shows trace life forms in every part of the ship.
Which I have questions about.
Well, they also almost collide with it because they have to wait until they see it to stop. Like,
Radar is surprisingly ineffective around Neptune.
I don't trust the instruments. I have to see it first.
This is one of the first times they talk. So they mentioned at numerous times putting things through filters. First, it's like the audio visual, like, well, I'll run it through some filters. Then later on, she says, I ran it through RNA, DNA filters. And
They hadn't really perfected zoom in, enhance yet in the movies.
but also, like, she was like, RNA filters? What do they think RNA is? Because his high school science, he learned about RNA recently. He's like, that doesn't make any sense. I was like, welcome to movies.
Yeah, welcome to sci-fi.
Yeah. So the crew goes into the ship, which has no life support or artificial gravity working.
The captain tells Weir to stay behind, and he is clearly pressed to get on the ship.
Yeah, he wants to get on the ship for sure. The friend ship.
He has like an itch. Like he seems like he wants to like rub himself on the ship. He's like, no, I need to touch it. It's like a weird.
Just like, hey man,
thing.
how am I gonna gouge my own eyes out if I'm not on that ship, bro?
Answer me that.
These eyes won't gouge themselves.
You think I can sit here all day smoking?
So the ship is designed, it's got a large tunnel in the middle connecting the engineering section with the gravity drive and the command deck and living quarters on the other side. One cool thing I noticed was that the shape of the tunnel was eye-shaped, which I thought was probably
Yeah, that was
purposeful and cool.
Yeah, visually the ship design, that being a tunnel,
Yeah.
works so well.
Yeah, very cool. So there's a series of explosives in the tunnel so that it can be blown up, and the gravity drive and engineering will be disconnected from the front half, which can be used as a life raft in case of emergency.
Which is conveniently explained to us.
It's very
By Dr. Weir.
Chekhov's. Yeah, very Chekhov's exploding tunnel.
That was the Three Sisters, right?
Yeah. They find nobody alive. There is a floating corpse and kind of just like blood gunk all over the walls.
Goo everywhere. Human goo.
ectoplasm.
Yeah, human goo.
Because they test
It
its
definitely
RNA.
had a. Well, it looked a lot like the face on the Necronomicon Ex Mortis, like
Yeah.
the face in the
Yeah.
wall.
Yeah.
Mr. Justin passes it off as coolant.
Yes. Yeah. Mr. Justin finds the gravity drive, which appears to have been designed by an engineering student going through a goth phase. Like it didn't need to have that many.
It's Trent Reznor's.
Yeah, it didn't need to have that many spikes and things.
Studio.
I don't feel like
Sam Neill's character,
The
Dr.
spikes.
Weir, designed it. He was still working through some shit, clearly.
No, but the spikes. It's like in Galaxy Quest where Sigourney Weaver's like, why would you build this?
Isn't this designed to look like a portal from Hellraiser, though? There's like a specific, I'm not super familiar with
It kind of
Hellraiser
does.
movies. There's like a spinning hell portal thing.
Yeah,
And they took the design of this room from that.
Yeah, and it is a popular theory that this is in the Hellraiser universe. A popular fan theory. But yeah.
And the meat grinder tunnel that Justin has to go through.
Yes, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, what was
So this ship is huge. And so you've got life support, which is the oxygen canisters, are housed in the reactor room with the puddingy oil space portal. What is all of the rest of this ship for?
Right.
Like,
And
there's
what-
a lot of ship
what was-
in like 3 rooms.
And what was the big fish tank that was all green that the blood came out of later on?
Yeah,
I think that was
That's
the bio
ecto cooler for the journey.
It's the bio.
cooler.
Ecto
I
cooler.
see.
You get thirsty.
There were some
Space,
orange
man.
slices floating in it too.
No one can hear you thirsty in space.
Have you been haunted by eldritch demons? Nothing quenches your thirst like icy ecto cooler.
To the extreme.
So, all right. So they are looking around, and Mr. Justin sticks his hand through the portal that the gravity drive makes.
Yeah, always do that. That's how you taste.
Always
test
stick
it.
your hand into something that you don't know what it is.
Well,
or taste it.
Dr. Weir is a concerned scientist this whole time. He designed this thing. And this is leads to my unanswered question of what is happening with Dr. Weir. You'd think he'd be like, don't walk towards the thing if it's moving. It shouldn't be doing that. We don't lose radio contact until Mr. Justin Baby Bear puts his hand into the door, the black goop.
That's what he thought it was honey. He's baby bear.
It's that super dense honey, that black hole honey.
Hey, man,
That black hole, honey. Oh, shit.
that
Is that an
density
Ohio
of black
Players
hole
record?
honey hits different.
Yeah. Black
I
hole.
wonder how many calories a teaspoon of that stuff is.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's keto.
Low carb.
so it's activates, which causes a shockwave that damages Lewis and Clark, and forces the crew to board the Event Horizon. Gravity's restored just as Justin gets sucked into the portal. He gets pulled out by Mr. Cooper, who he was hanging with.
He was hanging with.
Yeah. This is the action sequences in the beginning are weird.
Yeah.
Them like floating together, like I got you. Them screaming. A lot of these were just weird choices.
What?
Just ping pong, pinballing around in a dome. They spent a lot of money for that shot. That's why I'm like, why this?
I love how ridiculously advanced some technologies are, like artificial gravity. Artificial gravity is not something we're going to come up with in the next 100 years.
Not by
We're not.
2015.
No.
But the ship's log is still on a CD-ROM.
Yes, exactly.
Oh my God! With a bunch of car stereo decks.
Yes.
Remember, you'd have to pull it out sometimes because it wouldn't.
She's like, it's
You know,
really jammed
one
in
deck is-
there.
One deck is for the ship's log. One deck is for your Prodigy CD. You know, you may put some 9-inch nails in there
What-
too. Like
Some Little River Band.
Well, and whenever they board the Event Horizon, you don't see them click the face plates off because they don't want them to get stolen while they're
to take
parked.
with them.
But then they lose their faceplate, so they have to
They're just
they
fun.
have to bring a boombox and set it in the passenger seat.
It has the captain's log on it.
They've got 20 hours of air left on board the Event Horizon, so they begin trying to repair the Lewis and Clark. Meanwhile, Dr. Ware doesn't believe Mr. Cooper's story that the gravity drive was activated. Dr. Ware explains to them that gravity drive creates a black hole in the middle of it, making a gateway to some unknown place. The captain orders that no one goes near it. Then Peters sees her disabled son in the medical bay with maggots in his legs.
So the drive is activated, and Weir doesn't believe it because the energy propulsion for the drive was not activated. So was it activated from the other side? I'll take my question off air, but that's my question about this moment. Like, the hell dimension turned it on because it has people power.
It makes sense. Well, and I mean, the ship's alive, so the ship can...
Yeah.
Yeah.
The ship has a will of its own. So it was like, oh, if I want to bring these people where I'm trying to go, I have to turn on.
Exactly.
Yeah, I didn't.
And I still don't buy that Weir didn't know.
No, I think he was lying at this point already. We know for sure he's lying later on. I think he was lying here also.
Yeah.
They find the last log of the crew, which is distorted near the end. Peter said she'll put it through some filters.
And we get a beautiful blood orgy.
Yes.
Well, let me put it through some filters. Now he's a little fox.
Now he's a cat.
Yeah, little did we know that those were the filters that we would develop.
Those are the ones.
Now he's got big
He's got
glasses.
rosy cheeks and
little
sparks coming out of his eyes.
Hauntingly blue eyes.
Yeah.
You get a nose job and
there's a sudden power drain, and Weir has to go into the Matrix tunnel to find the problem.
I love this tunnel. This is the most 90s shit in this whole ship. It's just circuit boards.
The Matrix
Yes. Just green lit circuit boards.
You know, there are no pieces. There's no components that need to be accessed. Just a circuit board tunnel that we can zoom in on a trailer.
Yeah.
What's that shot called? The tunnel zoom?
The vertigo shot.
Yeah.
I think that if there was an argument to be made for Ware not knowing what was happening until later in the movie, this would be the point where he stops being normal Ware. Because this has like big it has big the hedge maze in The Shining energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, no, there's so many Shining homages in this.
Yeah, which I didn't catch on.
I didn't consider it. Yeah, now that we're talking about it, that's really interesting that he is he may be aware but not consciously aware, kind of like Jack being a dull boy, and he's not really aware.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's in his brain and what is not.
Yeah. Huh.
So let's see. He sees his dead wife. The captain sees a flaming crew member from an earlier mission. Justin wakes up and he starts gibbering about the dark. He don't like the dark. Afterwards,
still a baby.
Yeah. He's a little baby bear who don't like the dark.
Bears,
he needs Mama Bear.
The cave scares him.
Mama Bear needs to come read him a story.
Before he wakes up, when they're all comparing like what they saw, and then Smitty, he said he didn't see anything, but he's starting to like freak out on Dr. Weir, and then DJ pulls a scalpel on him, and like calmly, assertively says, "It's just a ship. There's nothing odd going on," and then he kind of like they call him on it, and he kind of snaps out of it. So he's DJ's also like being subconsciously affected.
Yeah. And
also
they've got the bone saw really ready to go.
The bone saw is
because bone saw is ready.
That is a weird
bone saw is ready.
You know, and the scalpel is the most effective tool against a human being out of that whole kit. You know?
It is.
Yeah.
It's just
very futuristic weapons.
Yeah, the bone saw though, like I would expect like a Star Trek laser saw, you know, like
It's
the thing
funny.
you cut bread
Yeah,
with. And
you brought a scalpel to a spaceship fight.
yeah, but I mean, like, but he uses the bone saw later. You think he'd just have the? I'd be like, I got the scalpel in my hand.
But the
all
bone saw, when they got there, the bone saw is just laying out. Like they have it just laying out. Like this medical crew was ready to amputate legs like that.
They
Maybe
totally were.
amputations are a real regular thing in space.
Right.
Yeah,
Well-
come on.
Yo, man.
Read a book.
You never
bro.
know.
That's the only reason they went to space medical school.
That's why the doctor's there,
Exactly.
just to cut limbs off. He doesn't treat.
Yo,
anything.
DJ. Every time they said his name, I just followed it in my brain with "spin that wheel."
They afterwards, the doctor denies seeing anything. Dr. Ware denies seeing anything. He gaslights the others, claiming they're hallucinating. Meanwhile, Stark tells the captain that she thinks the ship came back as some sort of life form. They focus on repairing the ship, which is being patched by Cooper and Smith on the outside of the hull.
And that has some Borg vibes to it. The ship being
Yeah.
a living thing.
And the Expanse. Ty Frank has talked about this a little bit. He's one of the dudes who writes that shit. They were clearly inspired by parts of this. The bio, what do you call it? Technopath, Josh? You're a technopath?
Technopath.
Technophile? Technopath?
No, technophile is someone really into, but we found out technopath
is
you have
somebody
control
who can,
over machines.
Yeah.
So I wonder if it's like reverse technopath. It's like I want to be a real boy and covering itself in human skin.
It's like Hal.
Yeah. Yeah. Like Hal.
Again,
Creepy,
Kubrick. He's really, really doing Kubrick on this thing. Well,
It's
plus,
interesting though that the ship doesn't talk or communicate except for through the nightmare visions and the blood
Right.
orgy.
Well, and that's the whole Lovecraft thing. Is the whole point of the cosmic entities in Lovecraft is that they are unknowable to us. We cannot comprehend the motivations. We don't understand why
Or where
they
they're
do
from.
what they do.
Versus
Exactly.
Hal,
And
who's
so
like,
it's like-
I want to though. Who's telling you?
Mhm.
Like, I have feelings too. I just don't care about you anymore.
They have marriage counseling on the ship.
you know what's funny? What I just realized too is that the ship, the Event Horizon itself, kind of is built similarly to the Discovery from 2001, where it's got two big ends and the long, skinny middle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. There's a sudden banging and explosions on the bridge. It's like claws, hands banging into the door.
And that's immediately after Dr. Peters checks on Justin, and then he's suddenly just gone.
Yes, he's suddenly gone. The doctor, Ware, wants to let in whatever's on the other side.
Open the door.
Again, he was
If
out of play.
you are not look, if I'm one of the crew of the Lewis and Clark, if I'm one of the crew of the Lewis and Clark, and the doctor that we brought on this ship with us starts going, open the door, I'm like, tie that motherfucker up. Like,
Yes.
he is.
This
We're
is
done
the,
here.
This is the moment where you stop trusting the man completely.
Put him in the fucking brig.
Yes.
Or a
Did this
closet
motherfucker
somewhere.
just say,
Put him-
open the door?
Put him back in stasis right now.
Yeah, Larry Fishburne really didn't step up in this moment. He wasn't there though, because he was saving.
Well, look, Larry Fishburne was very busy dealing with Iceman's cousin, Fireman.
Fireman.
Yes, he was. The flaming torch was there. The human torch. The flaming torch. All torches are flaming. Then Justin disappears from the medical bridge. They find him in an airlock. He seems to be in some sort of possessed state. He's going to launch himself out of it. Jude made the point that, okay, the controls were to the side of the door, and they couldn't see the controls from outside of the airlock. So when he does the fake out and is about to press inside door and then switches to outside door at the last second, that was for his own Oh, no one could see him doing that. They just know he was moving his hand towards the controls.
It was
even
for us.
when I space myself, it's mischievous because I'm Baby Bear.
He's got a reputation.
Roar.
I will say sometimes horror movies do the thing where they're like, especially sci-fi, like there's a timer. You've got to do the thing on the timer. I love the idea of there being security mechanisms that he has to outwait. He has to I'm holding this for 15 seconds. Because I actually do want to open this door. Overrides and things are a cool thing in science fiction too.
Yeah, definitely.
And it went on uncommented and unacknowledged, but that's it's neat to see.
I can't wait for someone to write a space movie that doesn't have an airlock sequence. As much as I love an airlock sequence, it's space is scary. That doesn't have to be the one point of tension. You're literally in a tin can in vacuum.
Right. Mm-hmm. Right. We get it. Yeah. Good point.
Yeah. So finally, he comes to himself, starts begging for help. The captain manages to space fly over there and save him. He is severely injured, though, but they put him in stasis to keep him alive. I lived in New York, Jeff. I know how to pronounce bagel.
I kind of low-key homie lost a lot of blood to just be critically injured. I was watching that and I was like, I think that might have been every drop of blood in that man's body.
Yeah. Was it 6 pints, 8 pints?
Yeah, it was a lot.
Something like that.
He was a few quarts down.
Had to eat some of that black hole honey.
Black hole honey.
Baby Bear gonna get some black hole honey tonight.
We're gonna flip flap to the smack.
So Dr. Ware's still denying that anything weird's going on.
Oh, this is fine. All this is totally fine.
This is how this always happens.
This is a perfectly normal ship, haunted ship in space. Perfectly normal.
He just wants to open the door, you guys. Yeah. That's all.
It's a perfectly normal ship that disappeared through a black hole 7 years ago, currently orbiting Neptune.
He has big. You remember the Doctor and the Thing when he's out in the snow, and then eventually he's like, "Guys, I'm okay now. You can let me in."
That's right. I'm
it's
fine.
Okay.
I'm showing his belly.
I'm fine.
Yeah,
that's how Weir is acting this whole part of the movie. It's okay, guys. Hey, what's a little bit of blood exploding out of the walls, guys?
Yeah, the real psychological horror is his gaslighting the whole time. It's not the nightmares.
Yep.
The real eldritch horror is the friends we made along the way.
I only have 20 more hours of oxygen to gaslight you people.
So the captain, he keeps hearing the voices of the guy. It's apparently the only bad thing that's ever happened to him prior to this.
And it's he never told anybody that happened. That's a interesting moral quandary, I guess.
Yeah.
He just died, I guess. I don't know. I wasn't there to watch it happen. The beautiful flames.
Then Peters is able to finally finish filtering the video log, and we get to see the blood orgy.
I just had a realization. We see horror sequences for the mom with the babe, the mom with the kid with the broken legs. We see Weir. The doctor tries to kill DJ. Right? DJ's the guy who has the naked lady picture that gets the holes poked through. I forget everybody's name.
Yeah, the pilot.
Yeah.
DJ's Candace Cameron.
We don't see horror visions for the rescue guy or for the discount Laura Dern character. Are they innocents?
Oh, and they both,
because they're the ones that survive.
They both survive. Yeah.
And they survive.
Yeah. They're noseworthy.
They were noseworthy.
They were noseworthy.
Well, and the only reason Baby Bear wants to kill himself is because he literally got sucked into the portal. He never had any real visions either.
He's just afraid of the dark because he's Baby Bear.
So we have...
okay, does that mean that Sam Neill is reliving what the first... because he sent the crew off? and they were victims of the thing, and his wife is just extra. This just like, because his wife kills himself, and that's his first vision. But then he starts to see himself as the same captain who pulled out his eyes.
Yeah.
Maybe he's reliving that as his crime, or whatever. This is a weird movie. Sorry. I'm trying to figure out why any of this happens.
I don't know that Paul W.S. Anderson put that much thought into it. I mean, judging by all the Resident Evil movies, I think this movie, we lost some stuff, some context in editing. I think we probably did. So, all right. Captain decides they're leaving immediately as soon as the Lewis and Clark's done being repaired. Dr. Ware doesn't want to leave. He wants to salvage the ship. The captain says they're going to launch missiles and destroy it. While getting ready to abandon the event horizon, Peters gets lured to her death by a vision of her son.
And we see Weir sneak away into the dark. We get his "I am home."
Yes, I am.
And then he just disappears into the shadows, and we don't see him as himself again, I guess.
And the classic,
as absolutely bonkers as this movie is, this goes to something. Sam Neill playing unhinged people and playing villains, it's an underrated thing. He's great in this. He's, again, we mentioned earlier, The Mouth of Madness.
Yeah, he loses it in that for sure.
Peaky Blinders, he's a villain, and he's fantastic in.
Really?
Evil Sam Neill is a win whenever you can get it.
Absolutely. And yeah, we get the classic chasing the hallucination through like halls and like, where'd they go? Oh, they're over there.
It's a little appetizer for what we're about to get.
Yeah. He has Ware finds her dead body, then has a vision of his wife as she kills herself. She tells him he's going to stay there forever and ever. And so he gouges his own eyes out. Meanwhile,
and she like puts her hands on his face in his dream, and then he is putting his own hands on his face.
She's gouging out his eyes in his dream, but in reality, he's gouging his own eyes out.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Much like Interstellar, it's the power of love.
It's true. Oh man, this would have been a great time.
Much like
Cue the
Back
song.
to the Future.
Yeah. That's it. Should have dropped.
You don't need money.
As he's screaming. These big synth horns. Oh.
Dun, dun, dun. Yeah. So meanwhile, Mr. Cooper finishes his repairs. He's getting ready to go back into the ship when they discover that Dr. Weir, now fully possessed by the evil, has planted one of the explosives from the Event Horizon's hallway into the Lewis and Clark, which blows up, killing Smith and launching Cooper into space. Mr. Cooper, who is in an entirely different movie than everyone else in multiple ways.
The best part, he is the best part of this whole movie. He's the only reason why any of this continues.
Yes. He is, but like also like he's not in the same movie. He's like, I'm coming, motherfuckers, but like that's not the Eldritch horror movie. He's in like Alien or something.
He's doing Gravity. He's doing the Sandra Bullock movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, he spends like 75% of the movie outside the ship.
Yeah. Yeah.
But every scene that he's in, it pays off for comedy in a weird way that like gets you on like a weird back foot. This movie does that part really well, but only with one character. It's weird.
Yeah.
Well, because he's also weirdly the most resourceful person, because he's like floating in vacuum like, oh shit. And then he goes, wait, quick thinking, hold on, let me reorient myself and do some things. And he's the one who like works it out to somehow get back to the ship.
So then, and he starts propelling himself back to the Event Horizon. Ware kills DJ, eviscerating him and hanging his body from hooks.
He tried to use the bone saw on him.
He did.
He went for the bone saw. Don't worry, I got him.
It was ready.
I have the bone saw.
Beat a dead horse. It was ready.
Thank
You got
God.
to get through the sternum.
Thank God every ship is fully stocked with bone saws.
Multiple sizes.
An old school
Look, Civil War doctors would have been all about this shit, man.
Yes.
That's the level of medical technology in this universe.
So the captain arms himself with the bolt gun and goes after him. He finds an unconscious Stark. He wakes her up. They're going to leave when Ware, now sitting in the captain's chair, eyeless, initiates a 10-minute countdown, at the end of which the event horizon gravity drive will begin, and they'll go to the other dimension. Cooper arrives back and hits the window. Ware shoots at him with the bolt gun, which he picked up, I guess, after the captain dropped it. Why did the captain drop the bolt gun? Fishborn.
He's got those fishy hands. He's just got sweaty palms the whole time.
Hands like a fish.
And real movie heroes, the masculine men they are, we don't shoot our problems. We fucking fist fight.
That's right.
Our problems. Even if our problems are possessed eldritch demons possessing people, we fight those with our hands.
You punch him.
He wanted to punch Sam Neill in the face from the moment they came out of stasis.
He really did.
So I love the fact
I finally get to kick this nerd's ass.
We don't see Cooper. We don't see Cooper die at this point because he gets shot in the face and it does not go all the way through and kill this guy. They subvert our expectations again with him twice. So this is subverting the trope of the black character is the first one to die in a horror movie. They have been dangling this poor dude as comedic stress in front of us the whole movie, and I love that it pays off the way that it does.
Yeah, absolutely. So Miller, Stark, and Cooper all survive. They manage to seal the ship's bridge. Miller plans to splint the event horizon in two and use its forward section as a lifeboat with the blowing up of the middle bridge part. We get the wave of blood from the ecto-cooler tank.
Dr. Ware gets sucked out into space. We see his body go.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Dr. Ware got sucked out in the decompression. Yeah.
Because, they're all holding on to the grates on the floor. That's why they have grates on the floor, so you can hold on when
it's true.
The door is open.
Well, it's for all the blood sluicing from all the bone saw amputations.
That's where all that blood came from.
Yeah. Yeah. Most of that shit, we were asking what most of the ship is for since it's so big. It's to hold amputated legs.
It holds all the blood.
Yeah.
That's why they didn't have
travel is really
atmosphere.
It's just a racket to get cool robot arms and legs. It's like, yeah, man, come be on our crew for 5 years. You'll leave with all 4 new robot limbs.
The space travel was invented by Civil War doctors.
Is this in the Blade universe? Is that where they get all the blood for the raves?
They use this human blood as coolant.
They have to.
Yeah, Al's got the idea.
They have to import the human blood from space in the Blade universe. All right. The captain is prepping the hallway explosion. He sees the Human Torch again, who drives him back to the gravity room, trapping him there. Human Torch turns into Ware, who tells him that the ship brought him back. Him and the captain fight. He detonates the explosives, sacrificing himself. The gravity drive activates, pulling the ship's back section into a black hole, while Cooper and Stark get away in the front section of the ship. Stark and Cooper enter stasis beside a comatose Justin, waiting to be rescued. Then we get a card saying 72 days later.
Which is really soon.
Yeah.
like, if this was 3 days and it took them, 59 days or something?
Yeah, 56 days to get there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like, even less than 3 days. Maybe 3 days. I don't know. We don't know how long they were there before the ship got.
I mean, they had 20 hours.
Yeah.
Once they locked on.
Oh, that was immediately?
Well,
After
that happened when they were first exploring. So, I mean, it was probably not more than a few hours between the time they locked on and they went into the ship. And then it was like maybe half an hour to an hour of exploring and then the explosion.
Wow. Yeah. It's just, it seems so soon compared to like the Alien universe where Ripley was in space for years and years. But this was in our solar system. So.
Yeah. The wreckage of the Event Horizon is boarded by a rescue party. They discover the amazing crew in stasis. Stark sees Ware as one of the rescuers. She screams, but then wakes up. It was just a nightmare. Cooper and the rescue team comfort her. Cooper's
cowards.
Just like, yeah. And the doors close. Was it bad or good? We don't know. And we roll credits to the smooth, soothing sounds of the Prodigy. That is Event Horizon.
That is it?
Yep.
In the final scene between Weir and Miller, Weir says something like, "You think it's hell? No, it's so much worse." But he's so desperate to get there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because at this point he's like he's more Eldritch Being now than man.
Yeah, he was brought back by the ship, so
he's an
something
avatar
different now. Yeah.
He's like a representation or like an anthropomorphization of the ship.
Oh, Andy got his eyes back.
Oh yeah, at the last he did have his eyes back, didn't he?
Yeah.
Final scene.
Huh. Where did he get all those
I like
scars?
to think that
Did he trade
I like
his
to think
eyes
the Prodigy song just plays on loop.
Yeah.
in hell? Oh yeah.
Yeah, it just plays on loop constantly.
They're like, we're big fans, but once every 8 playthroughs, it's What's New Pussycat.
And then no. And then just randomly every now and then, it's All I Want for Christmas Is You.
So yeah, I hadn't seen this in a while, so it was fun.
I don't think I'd seen this before. I watched it twice. It was I actually liked it better the second time I watched it. I don't know why.
I don't think I ever realized how much was going on in it before. I was always just like, ooh, crazy Hellraiser-y stuff. But yeah.
What did you think of the gore, Al? If this was your first time seeing it, this may have been a surprise.
It didn't shock me that much, honestly.
Yeah, me neither.
Movies are so much gorier now, and what was considered so taboo and so far outside of the bounds, even in 1997, now it would be considered like spectacle. It's like when Eli Roth started releasing those movies like The Green Inferno and stuff like that really are just like stomach-turningly like, ugh.
Yeah, I cannot handle torture porn. I can't. The Saw franchise, I can't.
It's not
deal
for
with
me.
it. Yeah.
Ugh.
So I know you guys did the movies I saw too young at the beginning of the show, but I have a distinct vision of my own. It was Cat People. I think I was 4 or 5.
That is way too young.
Good grief.
Yeah. Yeesh. So, any other unanswered questions we haven't gotten to, guys?
No.
Yes.
Well, they never really answered whether we would need eyes or not to see there, but
Well, yeah, he got his eyes back. I mean, that's my question. If you don't need eyes, why you got eyes now?
then why did he get them back?
What's with them eyes, man?
It's he got it because he got a promotion. So
he impressed his boss.
He impressed his boss by dating some. Guy.
When you've reached a certain point. When you've reached a certain point in seniority, you get 3 weeks paid vacation and you get your eyes back. How about that?
Right.
Only one set though.
So when he said that line, I had a strong Doc Brown vibe. Where we're going, we don't need eyes or roads.
Oh God, yeah. So, that's it for Event Horizon. We've got one more Spooktober movie to go. Next week, we're going to be watching Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
It's a fun one.
Yeah. I love that movie. We've had a doozy of a day. So
teenagers just started killing themselves on our property.
Yeah, it's great.
Until then, guys, we'll see you next time. This has been your host, Throw Smiley, and fuck this podcast.
I'm Josh Cece, and you can call me Black Hole Honey.
I'm Brian Lesh, and I think I'll stay in the Hell Dimension. It seems nice.
I'm Jeremy Reed, and if Kubrick could see this movie.
I'm your best friend, the lifesaver and the heartbreaker, Alaric Weber.
Thanks, everyone. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.